Hey, it's Tristan again from PrimalEdgeHealth.com, and today doing a quick video. And the title's going to be who can benefit the most from using a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet is a tool. It's a very powerful tool. It's not the ultimate tool for everybody. It doesn't mean just because I utilize keto to stay lean, to get lean, to lose a significant amount of body fat, and many other people do, just because I prefer keto as my baseline metabolic state, first of all, doesn't mean that I believe everybody should be doing it all the time. Also doesn't mean that I believe I should be doing it all the time forever. Ketogenic diet is a tool. It is a powerful tool. It is a powerful tool for changing your body composition, for being able to efficiently tap into and burn both dietary fat and body fat as a fuel substrate in lieu of carbohydrates. But it doesn't mean it's the greatest tool to use all the time across the board. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about a few of the groups of individuals that I have in my experience, that I believe in my experience can benefit the most from keto, from utilizing a high-fat, low-carbohydrate diet where the carbohydrates are low enough to where you are significantly producing and utilizing ketone bodies produced by the liver and utilized for energy. And these are highly anti-inflammatory compounds. The brain lights up and really seems to enjoy ketones. Now I'll get into that a little bit later, and I'll talk about why that might have some powerful effects on certain individuals. Now the first group of people that I'm going to say could benefit the most from the ketogenic diet are people who have to lose a significant amount of weight. People who are very overweight. If you've got to lose more than like 30 pounds, if people, clients and friends who want to lose 100 to 200 pounds, and these people are making significant progress. I'm talking like 30, 40 pounds in a few months. Some individuals losing up to like 30, 40 pounds in their first month. Now granted, a lot of that is inflammation and water weight. But that's still stuff you want to get out of your body as soon as possible. You want to get your body in a state of low inflammation. You want to get your body dialed in and tuned in to a state where your inflammation is low, where your insulin is low, where your hunger is kept low, because you've got a significant amount of weight to lose. Now, a ketogenic diet is very efficient at getting hunger low and satiety high, meaning you're not going to be hungry. You're going to feel satiated off very little amounts of food. Also, you'll be able to fast rather easily. Now, fasting is another very powerful tool. A lot of people like to talk about intermittent fasting as if it's this magical thing that will allow you to lose weight effortlessly. Yes, intermittent fasting is very effective for weight loss. But why is that? Now this is kind of a tangent. It's for a future video about intermittent fasting. But in my opinion, intermittent fasting is so effective because you are flirting with the state of ketosis. You're kind of on the outskirts of ketosis a lot of the time. You're keeping your insulin levels very low. You're keeping your insulin sensitivity high. So if you're doing intermittent fasting on a high-carb diet, you are already benefiting from brief interludes of ketosis. So there's another group of people that I believe could greatly benefit and might enjoy a ketogenic diet are people who love intermittent fasting. If you really like intermittent fasting, you're doing a carbohydrate-driven diet. A lot of people talk about how their brain function, their focus, their drive is more pronounced and more intense and better before they break that fast while intermittent fasting, which is when you fast for about, most people do 16 to 18 hours and then eat in a smaller eating window. Some people eat in like a 4-hour window or have one meal a day. Now, ketosis might be very enjoyable for people who like intermittent fasting for many reasons, and I'll talk about that later. But ketogenic diet is a very effective means of losing weight for very, very overweight individuals for many reasons. First of all, your inflammation, your insulin levels, your hunger levels are going to be kept low. Now that's very important. If you've got to lose a significant amount of weight, you want to ditch the cravings. And most people who are very overweight, most people who have struggled with keeping weight off. And me, my entire life, I always had a belly. I was always fatter than I wanted to be. Up until a few years ago, when I was able to actually decrease the amount of carbohydrates in my diet. Now, I'm not saying that the carbs were making me fat, but all the junk foods that I prefer to eat and that a lot of people who are significantly overweight prefer to eat are going to be mixes of fat and carbs. Fat, there's nothing wrong with fat by itself. When you combine high fat and high carbohydrate intake, you're going to get insulin resistance, fat storage, and issues. It creates issues. Now, a high carbohydrate diet is not bad. Now, that might sound like blasphemy to a lot of people who are in who really promote a ketogenic diet hardcore. Because I don't believe a high carbohydrate diet is bad. I don't believe carbohydrates are bad. But if you've got a significant amount of weight to lose, you've got strong cravings for junk food, you've got a history of binging on food like Pop-Tarts, stuff like that, and an IIFYM type diet, and if it fits your macros diet, that's going to include junk food, carbohydrates, even occasionally, can really tip you over the edge and just get you on these binge cycles. Now, a ketogenic diet really reduces the cravings for junk food. In my case, and many people's case, it completely can eliminate these cravings for junk food and for carb binges. So people got to lose a lot of weight. Ketogenic diet, probably the most profound and powerful tool. One of the most profound and powerful tools for losing weight would be the ketogenic diet. Now, yes, fasting, intermittent fasting, these other modalities can also be very effective, but to lose weight in a way that is sustainable long term and requires less willpower and less tracking, less mental focus on your diet, long term, a ketogenic diet is awesome. Once you get into that state of keto, once you get on a roll, and once you get adapted to the diet, it's so easy to maintain. Your cravings are gone. You know what foods you want to eat. You know what foods you enjoy. Your palate changes. Your hormonal profile will significantly change. Your brain chemistry will also be affected profoundly. And this makes it very easy to maintain the diet long term in order to lose a significant amount of body fat. And there's been loads of studies on the effectiveness of a ketogenic diet for adherence and for long-term weight loss. So it is highly effective for people who are overweight. Now, the next group of people, I've already got 7 minutes. I was hoping to make it a quick video, but I'd like to get into to my thoughts on the subjects. But the next group of people would be people who've enjoyed intermittent fasting. I've already mentioned intermittent fasting is kind of on the outskirts of ketosis a lot of the time, and people who enjoy intermittent fasting are usually enjoying that feeling of mild ketosis. If you've been doing IF and you really like it, and you're still eating carbohydrates in a significant quantity, try keto. You'll probably adapt rather quickly if you're doing resistance training, and if you've been doing intermittent fasting for a while. You'll probably adapt rather quickly to the ketogenic diet, and you'll realize that you can maintain that brain state, that state of focus and drive that you have before you eat. And I know I did intermittent fasting for quite a long time before I started doing ketosis, before I got into a state of ketosis long term, and I really enjoyed it. But every time I would have that first meal, my mental performance would significantly decrease, and I would get a little bit tired, feel a little bit bogged down. So having your meal at night, that's great. You get tired, you could sleep, but hey, if you've been doing intermittent fasting, ketosis might be very enjoyable for you. And the next group of people I want to mention are people who deal with brain fog, people who deal with Alright, now this is going to sound like a wide swath of individuals, but in my experience, many other people's experiences, this is absolutely true. A ketogenic diet can have pronounced beneficial effects on your brain chemistry and your emotional balance. Let me explain this a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if there's been a lot of studies done. I know there are some studies on a ketogenic diet used to treat bipolar disorder, and I believe there have been some preliminary trials utilizing it in cases of schizophrenia. But that would be very difficult to get a schizophrenic individual on a more restricted, which I don't feel like keto is restrictive at all. For me, keto is it's kind of a liberating diet, because I can go long periods of time without food, and I don't have cravings all the time for junk food. And if I do eat a higher carbohydrate load, at this point it's not really an issue, but I usually don't feel optimal. So it kind of sets this firewall in there for if you do kind of stray from your diet, you're not going to feel that great for maybe a day or so, and that helps keep you on track. So anyways, ketogenic diet has been studied as a treatment, as an effective therapy for bipolar disorder. Now, why exactly this is would probably just be conjecture on my part. But I have seen a lot of information about, a lot of studies done on the effects of a ketogenic diet on the balance of brain chemistry, namely the effect on the neurotransmitter GABA, G-A-B-A. Now, GABA is a neuroprotective neurotransmitter. Neuroprotective meaning it will guard your brain from the destruction, from like the fizzling out of neurons. It will actually protect your brain from cytotoxicity and excitotoxicity. So this might have a significant effect on an individual's mood, balance, emotional balance, and not to mention just the effects of blood sugar dysregulation. If your blood sugar is going up and down all the time, it's going to give you peaks and valleys in your energy. Now, anybody who's done a high carbohydrate diet, trying to like put on mass, trying to bulk, like a lot of these like bodybuilders and stuff, they'll do very high carbohydrate diets. A lot of people utilize high glycemic loads, and they might develop a little bit of insulin resistance at their long-term use of a high carbohydrate diet. So if you've been doing a high carbohydrate diet for a long time and you're starting to gain fat and you're starting to get insulin resistance, lowering those carbohydrates and getting into ketosis for at least a little while could also be beneficial. Just for resetting your insulin sensitivity, getting insulin sensitive again, so then you can efficiently put on more muscle mass later when you do reintroduce carbohydrates, because you won't be desensitized to them. Now, that was another little tangent, another little group of individuals that I believe could benefit from keto. But let me go back to the brain chemistry issue. Blood sugar dysregulation, your blood sugar going up and down all the time, you being dependent on food to regulate your brain chemistry, to regulate the energy production in your brain and in your body, can have pronounced effects on your mental and emotional state. I know in my life and in my past, in my experience, with binge eating, with eating a lot of junk food, all through my childhood, I know that it had negative effects on my mood, on my cognition, on my energy throughout the day. I used to take frequent naps. I would always be tired after meals because I was constantly stuffing myself with foods that would give me a little insulin spike and then drop me. I used to love eating sweets. When I was in college, I was living off of Ben & Jerry's for a while, just completely. I would take down 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's a night very often. Yes, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it tasted great. But I know I wasn't functioning at my best mentally, and I know that emotionally I was up and down. My drive, my focus, my happiness were greatly affected by my blood sugar going up and down. And I'm not diabetic, although I do have a lot of diabetics in my family. Type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes are very prominent. I'll show some pictures. I'll actually throw a picture up here of me several years ago. And that was kind of my typical body composition. Nice big belly, nice love handles all over, chubby face. And no, I always was dealing with some blood sugar dysregulation, as well as other issues like asthma and allergies, which are connected to inflammation, autoimmune type, what I would consider degenerative diseases, asthma and allergies. I mean, the inability to efficiently utilize oxygen, to efficiently breathe, and your body kind of attacking itself, creating too much mucus in response to mild toxins in the environment that other people can deal with perfectly fine, is kind of a lame thing to carry with you. Now, a lot of these issues were resolved as I started dialing in my diet, and I'm not saying diet will cure asthma and allergies. It can be an effective modality, however, for improving your health, your vitality, and your ability to deal with stressors in the environment. So, those are a few individuals that I, in my experience, have seen can highly benefit from a ketogenic diet, from being in a state of ketosis longer term than just utilizing intermittent fasting and eating carbs once a day. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'm going to be putting out more content, shooting more videos. I have made the resolution to put out more consistent content, because I really enjoy being able to share this with you guys, and the channel's growing very rapidly. All the clients we've got this month and the last year have been doing amazing. I mean, some of these people that we've been working with have made physical, mental, emotional changes in their life and utilized diet as a tool and as a stepping stone for making these changes, and made significant and amazing transformations in their body, but also just in their lifestyle and their outlook on life. So all our clients are working with right now, good job, guys. So check us out, www.primaledgehealth.com, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.